So ever since I started sharing my story, my journey of why I chose to leave the US, because as a black person, I don't feel safe and I feel like we deal with domestic terrorism frequently, damn near every other week. So why I chose to leave the US, because I didn't feel safe. I get comments like this all the time that are trying to invalidate my experience. So let's talk about it. So when I share my story and I talk about why I left and why I continue to choose to live abroad and why I would never live in the US again, it's because of things like this that are absolutely undeniable. It's not normal. It's violent as hell, and it's domestic terrorism that affects both our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health.
One thing that I never understand is that why are people getting upset with black folks that want to live abroad? Why are you so upset? Why are you mad? There's no reason for that. I just think that you feel that black folks should be oppressed all their freaking life.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good doc back again once again. Let's lock in. There are a multitude of different reasons why Black Americans are choosing to leave the United States in abundance. Okay, but I'm really starting to see some things come to light in references to some of the differences as to why Black Americans are choosing to leave the United States. What I'm hearing more so for the women is the racial factor, right? I hear a lot more of the racial factor from women. Not saying that some men don't say it, but a lot of men are utilizing the idea of wanting to go abroad and leave the United States more so for dating purposes. And I'm hearing more so from women that it's more along the lines of the racial factor of everything happening in the United States. Now, there are a lot of racial undertones when it comes to being in the United States. Again, my experiences will likely be different than your experience in the United States. I haven't really experienced a lot of negative racially motivated situations, but I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that that Buffalo situation, that shooting in Buffalo, did not hit me the wrong way, right? A man walks into a damn store and literally targets people who look like me. It was targeted. And you can go to all the different networks and you're going to have people who are going to try to downplay it and try to make it seem like it's something more than what it actually is. And people are going to try to spin the narrative. But ultimately, anybody who saw that story, anybody who knew that story could clearly see that it was a targeted attack. Now, like I said, I don't really focus so much on that on this particular channel. We talk about some of the reasons why we should go abroad in reference to dating and focusing on dealing with women that you actually want to be with. But in reality, there are some situations that are pushing Black Americans outside of the United States. And like I said, at the top of that is usually the racial factor, right? Now, of course, like I said, everybody's experiences are going to differ. My experiences are going to be different than yours and vice versa. But we can't ignore the fact that there have been some situations where if you look at it from the outside in, you're like, damn, that is exactly what it looks like, and it is what it is, no matter how you try to spin it or how you try to tell somebody that it's not what it is. And for me, I try not to let it phase me a lot. And the reason that is because I still, at this moment in time, I still have to function within this society. This is where I work. This is where I make my bread. Granted, like I said, we're doing whatever we can to transition ourselves out of it. But in the meantime, in between time, you do what you can to function. You do what you can to make it work where you are in the moment. Because again, like I said, there's always an end goal, right? And y'all know me, man. I express my Second Amendment rights to the T, right? Within the bylaws of the law, the great state of North Carolina. Y'all know what I mean. But outside of all of that, one of the major moves for a lot of us is abroad, right? And I do believe that I think the focus is that a lot of people want to believe that you just doing it for the women, and to an extent for most men. Like I said, that could be top of the list, right? But also the treatment, man, the king's treatment, the treatment of black men abroad, and black people in general abroad, it differs. Now, am I gonna sit here and tell you with a straight face that you're not gonna have some racial experiences abroad, or experiences abroad wherein you may feel a way about the way somebody said something, right? Am I gonna say that? No, of course not. There's probably gonna be one or two situations where you may deal with that. It does depend on where you're going. Let's keep it real. It depends on where you're going. But is it enough? Like I said, is it enough for that situation to happen for you to completely forego going to that country, or you to completely say, oh my God, I made the biggest mistake of my life leaving the United States. Now I want to go back, just because you have an experience like that? Probably not. Because again, if you weigh your pros and cons, for me personally, I do believe abroad, anywhere you choose to go, Philippines, Thailand, Brazil, Colombia, places like that, I do believe that those choices are usually the best, as long as you are able to take advantage of certain opportunities to do so, right? You got to be able to make your money, right? You got to be able to find a way to make your money. If you're retired, got to make sure that money is consistently coming in. So I'm not going to tell you to make that move without having a plan to do so, without having some finances or resources or some money coming in any capacity to make sure that you can maintain that lifestyle abroad. But if you can't, I would still be one of those types of guys that says, yo, man, you do what you got to do for as long as you need to do it before you choose to commit yourself to the move abroad, right? Because I don't want you going over there broke, right? Because all you're going to do is give these men who have been talking shit about the passport community and the passport brothers and the brothers who travel, you're just going to give them ammunition if it comes to light that you failed abroad. Just another brother who couldn't make it, man. I told him, man, leave the United States. If you can't make it here, you ain't going to make it anywhere else. You know, you don't want to give people that ammunition or that energy, especially to have a negative naysayer comment about you. So you got to make sure that you are ready to make the move, committed to that move, and you have the finances in order for you to be able to commit to that move. Even the richest in the world have decided to make the move. What was it, Eduardo Saverin, the one of the co-founders of Facebook? I think he actually renounced his citizenship to the United States, and I think he is, it's in Malaysia or Singapore. I can't remember which one. I think it's Malaysia or Singapore where he's living. None other than one of the biggest names in YouTube right now, Andrew Tate, resides in Romania, right? So you have brothers who have made the move. I'm not necessarily saying Eduardo Saverin's a brother. I don't think he was black. But anyways, I'm just saying, in general, you have people who have committed themselves to the move. Even people who aren't as well known. You hear it all the time, man. There's a brother that did a video. He was a digital marketer making $140,000 a year. The homie Anton Daniels covered him the other day. You know, he's living in Bali, Indonesia, making $140,000. Of course, he's a digital nomad, so his work is always online. But he's basically living off of what, a couple $1,000s a month for all of his expenses and shit. So there are definitely a lot of pros that come with traveling and choosing to commit themselves to a move abroad. There's a lot of pros with it. Are there cons? There's cons with everything. So you can't really look at it all. Well, here's the bad thing that can happen. Here's the shit that can hit the fan. You know, we just have to have a positive outlook when we're choosing to commit ourselves to that move. But if you're not ready and you don't want to, I'm not telling you to move outside the United States if that's not what you want to do. You have to actually want it, right? There has to be a legit reason why you want to do it, number one. And number two, you gotta make sure you at least have traveled to the country that you want to go. You at least got to do some scouting, right? You at least got to do some sort of scouting to make sure that it's worth it for you. Because all the research in the world, all the paperwork, all the YouTube videos, all the journals and shit that you've read or whatever it is based on cost of living and all of that stuff, yeah, it all sounds good on paper and it all sounds good in theory. But when you go there, you realize that experience is far from what you thought it would be. Guess what? Now you're mad. So if you don't do your scouting, do the scout report, you know, actually physically going to these places, ain't gonna do you no favors. Why not? You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna do you no favors. So for me, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to make sure that y'all stay the course. If moving abroad is what you want to do, focus on how you can get there. Myself included. I'm focusing on seeing how I can get back to where I once was. And trust me, there's always some things in the pipeline, ladies and gentlemen, always some things in the pipeline. But if you guys enjoyed this video, man, I appreciate you locking in. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Doc would highly appreciate that one. Any comments, leave them in the comment section below. You already know, man. It's been the good Doc, man. Y'all know what time it is. Time for me to go and get the getting. So y'all take care. Y'all stay blessed, man. Doc is out. Peace.